What's up, Miniatures Paintbrush Legions? This is Rob, your host, and today we're going to talk about painting up this Tau Commander. Let's go down to the table town. Alright, so we're going to start our venture with Vallejo Model Color Black. Now, I do like Model Color Black because to me it seems to be the mattest black you can get. I also use Flow Improver. I use Airbrush Flow Improver because it was available. Now, Liquitex puts together a Flow Improver that works just as well, and I throw it into my Masterson's Wet Palette. Now, Redgrass Games have wet palettes as well. I like the Masterson's because it's more cost effective as long as you maintain it well. So as I paint this, I wanted to talk a little bit about brush strokes and doing longer brush strokes. See, as I am painting this, I am not applying paint as much as I'm pushing paint into the recesses because what I'm painting here is a recess, so it kind of gets tricky along the edges. So what I do is I try to hit around the edges in one concise brush stroke and then fill in the rest. Another methodology is to fill in the middle and then push it out to the ends. Now, these techniques might help, especially if you have any kind of model that has a recess and you want to get into a color and you don't want to get that color everywhere else. Normally when things are recessed, I actually do sub-assemblies and then paint it separately. But in this case, I couldn't do any more sub-assemble to get this piece in, so I realized I'm going to have to paint this, but I just need to do it carefully. I did speed this part up twice as fast, so you can imagine how long it took me to get just this one piece and how much care I took to get this one piece done. I wanted to get it right. Tau does have a lot of recessed areas. Now the joy is that the recessed areas are black, which is amazing because black has great coverage. Sorry if I'm a little phlegmy. My family and I contracted the COVID virus even though we have the vaccine, so we are not feeling well at all, and I'm mustering as much strength, and I made this doing all of Tylenol to keep my fever down to do this video because I'm dedicated to y'all. I'm just letting you know I'm doing my best. All right, so now time for edge highlighting. Temple Car Blue, white from FW ink, although you can use any ink. Liquitex has great ink as well. So is Vallejo, and then Pro Acryl Titanium White. I use that in a mixture right there on my wet palette, keeping things wet. I try to wick some of that stuff off, and then the great thing about doing edge highlighting is that especially with black, and if you don't have any transitions with that black and you want that stark Tron type of look, the easiest thing to do is to go at it with your edge highlighting like I'm doing here. But here's the step, the piece de resistance, is that you can go back with any mistakes and go over with black, or whatever your base color is, and basically use this as an eraser so you can fine strip things. And if you get it wrong, you could always add more edge highlighting and then put more black, and you go back and forth. A lot of painting, I've realized, is that back and forth methodology. If something doesn't work, you can go back and try it again until it does work. Rarely do I get anything right the first time I do it. Rarely. I go back and it's called cleanup. I go and clean up pieces that I may have done an extra stroke to, or I was a little heavy with the edge highlighting or something like that. And I go back and I start cleaning up things, basically using the base colors as an eraser to the mistakes that I made. Part of painting is making a ton of mistakes, realizing what the mistakes were, and then going back and cleaning up those mistakes and refining. That's a big word used in the art community. I know. Studying to be an art teacher. I am a Spanish teacher and I have been since the 90s. But, I want to broaden my horizon. I have a love for art. So one of the big words there is refinement. Refinement is cleaning up or going through the process, because they use the word refinement because all artists are messy. we're using media and we're splashing it on a surface, you know, it gets messy. We make mistakes, you know, we kind of blend this and throw this in there and be like, hey, that's kind of cool if I do this. So doing that refinement stage, which I'm doing right now with the black, you can see me going in between those fingers there and just cleaning up, making sure that those lines are straight. And I do this with all my edge highlighting on the towel. I've learned to do that. It just, you know, I don't lose any more hair because I did something wrong, and you know, and I beat myself up for it. We need to stop beating ourselves up for stuff like this, you know. We make mistakes. It's part of the process, and you see this edge highlighting right there is pretty cool. I never tried this. It's like almost like skeletal hands for this one right there. Sorry, I can't laugh too loud or I will have a coughing fit for certain. Part of the refinement process for me, even when I'm building, think about this, because a lot of people like to convert models, and I see them converted on Facebook groups and, you know, Instagrams, and I see Twitter has a thing, although I'm not really on Twitter, but a lot of people post, hey, I converted a thing. I say, that's great, but the way you converted it makes it near impossible to paint well. So I'd like to see it painted, you know. So it's great that you convert things, but to me as a modeler, and if you are a modeler, now if you're a gamer, it's a different story, but if you're a modeler or a display painter, it's great to make conversions, but painting it well, I've seen some great conversions with some pretty horrendous paint jobs, to be honest with you. Horrendous to me anyway. If I were painting that, I would not find that acceptable. And I've seen that online. Now, if they've given it their best, then I praise them. And the reason I praise them is because I was there. My painting was horrendous. I will not be sitting on a high horse here. It was a process. It took me several years. I've been painting nitties since the 90s, so it's been taking a long time for me to develop skills, and I'm still developing skills. You know, never stop learning. So yeah, I was there too. You know, but you know, we all do that kind of thing. You know, we all kind of like look at a Facebook post and be like, Like, I mean, I think it's human nature to judge things. Like, you do you, buddy. Like how to paint a golden demon, you know. Derpa-derps, you know, like, oh my gosh. But some people put time and effort into their models, and some people don't. They just throw things on it, you know. Which is kind of cool, I guess. That's its own thing. I like converting. I do like converting. I don't convert much. But I respect it, that's for sure. I convert sometimes when I don't have the same model. Now we're going to Mechanicus Standard Gray. Just wanted to go back to the videos off. And I do that through all the portions, and you just see a lot of different edges. Like some of the stuff like on the leg right there. See, I'm going to have to go back and refine that leg right there, because I got to miss stroke of paint right there. And I'll get into that. So when you're painting Mechanicus Standard Gray, you're going to have to paint it in several layers. This is supremely watered down, very watered down. So when you're painting gray like this, or painting anything with the brush really, you are going to go through an ugly phase, and that's when the refinement kicks in. You know, like you're gonna have to do some refinement in order to get out of the ugly stage and get into the finely painted model. All right, again with the same colors here, but this time dark Prussian blue. And if you have seen any of my other videos, you know, yes, we're going to do lenses, and we're going to do them on the legs itself. A little bit of wet blending here for that, and all wet blending is that you have two paints and you kind of smash it together, and you kind of going back and forth until you get a unified color in the middle, retain the dark on the bottom, and then have a light color on top, or vice versa. And I'm going to do some wet blending on the weapon as well. And you're going to see how ugly it's going to look. It's going to be like, Rob, what are you doing? That looks absolutely horrendous. You're going to see that coming up in a bit. All right, so getting back to getting your stuff on Facebook and stuff like that. If you've worked hard at something, then I appreciate, seeing people's work in progress on their journey. I do appreciate seeing that as well, but I post my hobby journey myself, and I get smashed by a lot of better artists than I. And at first I took that personally, but then I look and it's like, you know what? They're right. I could have put a shadow underneath there, or I could have put an OSL effect over here, and it doesn't have to be the same color as the light. Like, it has to have diminishing returns. So some of the stuff that they're saying, being receptive to some of that stuff is great, but after a while you get bummed out, right? Oh my. Okay, so I love subassembling and then building. I build. Like, whenever I paint a piece, I'm like, hey, I can build that into a larger subassembly, and I put it together. And it's pretty neat when you have already painted pieces that you put together like that. It's pretty cool. That's why I subassemble. I mean, it's so rewarding and satisfying. Like, hey, I did something today, Makes you feel good. Actually, usually what I do is I take the model as I paint it. Maybe you can do this to motivate you too. I take the model, and since my painting studio is down here in the basement, this is just one section of a very large basement, and I take it upstairs, and I kind of looking at what did I miss, what other detail could I have added. It's very introspective. So after I finish a painting session, and some people think I just paint one mini or 20 minis in one day, which I have. I mean, non-stop marathoning it, but that's exhausting. But if I take several days to paint one model, especially like Commander or something like that I want to put a little more attention to detail with, as I assemble it like this, it looks like I've completed something, makes it look great. So I take it upstairs, and I'm like, oh, there it is. And then my wife kind of looks at it and say, hey, that's looking good. I noticed that you put on the legs there and you did the lenses, and I'm like, wow, you noticed that? That's pretty awesome. And that gives me encouragement to go on. But I gotta tell you, this Tau project has me fizzle kashizzle with painting white. I am burning out. Always said I wouldn't burn out, but I get to some stages where it's a marathon and I gotta push through these moments. But it is rough. I painted so many Tau right now, and I have a lot more to paint. So I'm in the middle of the road. I might do another project just to palette cleanse or not think about Tau for a little bit and then get back to it. But I'm really nervous about not being able to complete my new army for the new year. Now, I have never played this army because I haven't finished it yet. And I'd like to finish the army before I paint it. All right, it's time for some wet blending. It's going to get sloppy. Once I put the base coat of this Mechanica Standard Gray, and I don't know why I'm being so careful because, yeah, it's going to get hot messy. Anywho, what was I saying? Darn you, COVID. Anywho, yeah, I am burning out. I think I might do a little project, like a palette cleanser a little bit, and then come back to it. But I'm really afraid that I'm not going to be able to finish this army in a year. I mean, that has been my goal, to finish it within a year. There've been a lot of obstacles, but I've learned a lot from this. I learned a lot about painting stark white, getting a little more buttery smooth with the white there. But I do have that factory look. Here's the thing. I do have a factory kind of fresh out the gate kind of look with my miniatures mainly. There are some instances where I'm adding battle damage here and there. I think with the Tau, as I play them, and if somebody dies, I'll add like a nick to their armor or something like that. Being that I hardly play, I might get a nick or two. That's about it. And there goes the battle damage right there. And if I play again, maybe I'll add rust to those nicks, you know, the older ones. You know, I think it'd be kind of cool to do that, because it's really easy to add battle damage. Like, it's not that difficult. You put a black stripe, you put a white underneath it, you clean it up a little bit. Maybe you put like a little gray inside so that there's depth in there, you know, here and there, just like a dot or two, or, you know, a little line or two. Be kind of cool, you know. But yeah, it's not that hard to do. And rust streaking, you just have to dilute it and go straight down. You have to think. If you don't know how to do rust, then just take pictures of rusty things, or go to, you know, stock photos, or, you know, do a search on rust. And nothing is better than you trying to emulate real life, you know. So, all right, starting off with some of that blue, still keeping that limited color palette. So, you know, you got that blue number 1, that really light blue. That's the white and the blue put together, and I'm just gonna saturate the zones, and I'm gonna go back and forth. When it comes to wet blending, it's all about that back and forth. You got to go back and forth and go through what you think is best. But I'm going pretty thick. The reason why I'm going pretty thick is because, you know, it's acrylic paint, so it's going to dry pretty quick. So if you go thick, and when I say thick, I mean just like the amount of paint is a lot, you know. And it's going to dry really quick, so I want it not to dry really quick, so it could be wet when I apply the second color of paint. And going back and forth, I'm going to tell you, it's going to look like a hot mess. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to have to refine it. I'm going to have to clean it up. All right, now that I got that done, I'm going to go into my next color, which is that dark brush and blue. You're going to notice that I didn't even clean my brush. So there, ooh, that was a little bit adventurous there. Okay, there we go. You're going to see the colors start to blend right there a little bit. You see that? And you can play around to it. Again, this is the taste. This is glowing kind of stuff. So it's like infusion stuff. So yeah, just going through it, adding a little bit of white, playing around with the different colors. Again, a hot mess before it's not, you know? You got to go through the ugly stage in order to come up with gold. Again, it's going to get pretty messy. You're going to have to clean it up with details, go back with the base colors, go in there. Already see I got a little bit on the white. I'm going to have to go back with titanium white and clean that up. And that's pretty much it. And then you go back to the cleanup. So the cleanup is just going with the Mechanica Standard Gray and going over that stuff. Now, if you're done to the point where you're happy with it, then you can do this step. Now, introspectively, I could have waited until the paint was dry before I did it. But then I got too ambitious. You see that? I got a little bit too ambitious, and I put the gray on it. But, you know, I was like, no. And then I had to redo it. Oh, Rob with your mistakes. But that's okay. I do it all the time. One of the things that I wanted to do with this army is eventually I might want to play it only to those people who really try to like really try to get me off the table and like trounce me in a turn or two. Then I'll bring my towel out and be like, Sorry about that. Oh my. You heard all that. Sorry about that. So yeah, then I'll bring the towel out and like smash face. I mean, I don't know if that's what this is, like my backup army in case you trounce me with my fluffy lists and you don't bring a fluffy list and you know I'm bringing a fluffy list. Then game 2 is going to be on like a Donkey Kong. I think that's the best way to do it. So there it is. I did some wet blending there, and now I am going to paint the head of this commander, and that's usually red in the Tau army. I'm going to be doing lore videos. Well, one lore video on the Tau, or maybe two, I don't know, because Commander Farsight deserves his own kind of lore video. I think I'm going to do some lore videos. My friend Mythos Krishnada from the channel Frost and Fist and told me that, you know, he kind of likes when I put a little bit of Tau, or when I put a little bit of lore. I'm sorry, not Tau. Actually, he doesn't like Tau. He doesn't like what Tau does to people on the table. You know, not good. I mean, I've been tabled by Tau. Tabled by Tau. This should be a support group. Have you ever been tabled by Tau? Well, join us. We'll talk about how we hate Tau. Ha. And for me, it's like, well, I can't beat him, so I'm going to join him. Okay, put some weapon on there. You got to see some of that web blending on that weapon up there is pretty cool. Came out all right. And then I'm going to put that sandy bases. Like, I do like to use AK Interactive. So yeah, so Mythos said that he likes the lore that I put into some of my videos, but I kind of sneak them in there. I think Tau in itself is worthy of having its own lore video. Maybe I'll do lore videos for the other factions too. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should I do lore videos on the factions? I think since this is the new army for the year, I'm going to do one on the Tau. Yeah, I really hope I can finish the Tau in the year. I don't know what I'm going to do. I probably won't have a new army for the new year this year if I don't finish the Tau on time. That's my OCD, you know. Which only means, like, I'll just paint some Reaper miniatures or something like that, and try oil painting, do some busts or something like that. And I haven't done a Reaper miniature in a very long time for this channel, and some people liked it because they use it for D&D. And surprisingly enough, D&D currently is more popular than Warhammer. So there's that. I used to play both, so, you know, I mean, I still play Warhammer, I think. Sometimes, rarely. It's kind of cool. I might have some battle reports. Now, I'll have some battle reports for the Tau, and I'm teaching my Tau how to play. Wow, dude. All right, I'm teaching my, darn you, Corona. I'm teaching my wife how to play Reign in Hell. It's a simple war game made by Vince Venturella and Adam Loper from the channels Vince Venturella and Tabletop Minions. And I am doing a Reign in Hell campaign with my wife, and it's great. But as far as her playing Warhammer, she says that's too much to remember. And I don't disagree, because after playing, and my games last a very long time. They just do. Like 5 hours for one game of 2,000 points. Yeah, it takes me a long time to play a game. So, you know, it's mentally exhausting like that. So she says, nah, I don't think I'll do that. So I don't really have anybody to do a legit battle report with for 40K. So what do you think about me doing a little bit? You know, now that I haven't made comments on this, I'm going to put some Rogue Gravel in there. I put some WWS Scenics Tufts in there as well. I did do a whole video on the Sandy bases that you can watch if you'd like to. So it's just super easy. Then I do some leaf litter from Green Stuff World. Yeah, that's it. It's pretty cool. So what do you think about me doing more of a cinematic? This is my thought. Since the animations are gone in 40K, why not? Now check this out. Why not use the models and tell a story that way instead of using animations? I think I'm gonna be up on that. I think that would be very popular, actually. What do you think? Tell me in the comments. Help me shape the channel. Probably do that too, you know, and do like a troop of fire warriors saying, oh man, there goes the space wolves or something. I don't know. I have to create stories which would be kind of fun. I mean, I have the models and I have the terrain, so, you know, I could make this happen. I have a lot of models and have a lot of terrain, and I could certainly make this happen. I think I'll try it and see how it does. I think I'll do that. But first thing first, I want to do a full campaign of Reign in Hell to honor Mr. Vince Venturella and Adam Loper with my wife as my opponent. And I told her I was going to be merciless, so we played a couple of practice games already. Alright, time to the head right there, just painting in the black, trying to be really careful using my Series 7 Winsor & Newton. I think that's what that is. If it's not it's my Raphael. I like those two brushes. Yeah, it's my Raphael. I see the orange tip on the back there. But there it is. Just getting in there. And then finally, I'm going to just do the lenses for them as well. There it is. Looking great there. It would help if I turned on the light. Right. So, now time for some gold. Oh, yeah. You gotta love Vallejo metal color gold. Now, there's some things you can add to it. This is a green gold. That's how it comes out. So, you may want to do some inks in there to influence it. I'm doing it really light. I'm doing several coats of it. A lot of people do metallics and they kind of like slop it on. I don't like to do that. I don't like to slop on metallics simply because it just doesn't look right. It looks globular. Also, after you put on metallics, you're going to want to do the edge highlighting and or you want to do the recess shading as well. I do a lot of pin washing with oils. You guys see right there. So I get in there with the oil paint mixture, which has mineral spirits, and I use Winsor & Newton Winton oil paint, and it works really well. I have a batch there. I think I need to have a new batch because I've had the same batch for, I don't know, for most of the year. So getting into these little areas is tricky, especially with gold, because gold is really hard to cover up. So I'm getting in there trying to do those right there. Maybe I should have thought about that before assembling it completely. That's the whole point of sub-assembly. I was just really anxious to get these done. So so I think it's coming cool. Now, the one thing I have to say is that, and I'll show you in a bit, that they gave me an instruction booklet that came with this Battleforce box. That is the Rapid Insertion Cadre. And they gave me the Tau Commander instruction booklet, the old one. Then I realized when I got the next Battleforce box that I opened up and I'm starting to build, that there's another instruction booklet, you know, a totally different one. I was wondering why all the pieces weren't, you know, exactly the same. It's because they're different booklets, which is a good thing. I have 3 commanders with all the boxes that I bought, so I have several commanders there with several different options. Time for me to put on the decals. All right, time for the decals or water slide transfers. I use a brush to kind of like, after it's soaked in water for a bit, just to throw it on there. Then I use a brush to center it and put it exactly where I want it. Just kind of push it. And it gets a little tricky. Sometimes you have to re-wet your brush in order to do it. And there it is. It should be moving right there. Yeah. Decals are kind of tricky. I've done a lot of model cars, race cars. They had hundreds of decals, so I got used to pushing decals, fitting decals, stretching them on uneven surfaces, cutting decals so they fit appropriately, all kinds of things that I learned how to do with decals. Alrighty, yep. And there's a lot of decals I use. I use decals from Gundam models. Thank you, Hobby Hero, for doing that, for inspiring me for do that. But a lot of different decals go on. I use my first white decal, and I'm going to put it on his head. There it is. Slide that off and center them up. I use angled tweezers right there. It's pretty good. I got them from a hobby store. And you can go to your Hobby Lobby if you want to, but Amazon is a good source for different kind of hobby tweezers. I guess look up hobby tweezers. I think I went to Hobbytown USA. Yeah, that was many moons ago. I don't even know if they're open, to be honest with you. Yeah, a little bit of water on the water slide transfer gets it to move around to where you want it. Using my fingers, there's a lot of different things you can do just to make it even. There you go. It's looking great, and that's how you do decals. There you go. All right, so let's go back down. So to show you, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so. Sorry that I'm sick, and I'm on a lot of medication to sound like this. Usually I'm like dying. It's no joke. COVID is no joke. Take it seriously, please. All right, so this is the commander instruction booklet that I received with that first Battleforce box, and it really doesn't have a lot of the stuff that comes with the commander that I had. Then on the second Battleforce box, see a difference already? On the second Battleforce box, let's take a look. Right there. So you got Cold Star Battlesuit. And then you have an Enforcer. But this is the one that I got. So this is the commander that I built as best as I could. So I don't know if you want videos on these guys. It's probably going to be pretty similar. But you know, I'll make a video if you want me to make a video, because I'm making these guys anyway. Since I have 3 commanders total in my project, I can make both the Enforcer and yeah, I gotta make that happen. All right, well, I really do appreciate you coming by and watching this video. Sorry I'm under the weather. Hopefully I feel a lot better next week. I hope to do Rain and Hell campaign material starting next week. I'm crossing my fingers. My wife said she's going to play several games with me and take some time off so we can record. And I hope to have at least 10 games in, maybe more, of that campaign. So it's going to be exciting. And we'll switch to Rain and Hell for a little while before going back to the Tau. I think that's a good break for me mentally from doing the Tau, because I am getting a little burnt out and there's quite a bit of stuff. Speaking of quite a bit of stuff, I did get some, and Nick from Idic Beer 40K did get some Necron stuff. So I got a Monolith, and I got the Silent King, and I got a Catan, the new Void Dragon, and I got a bunch of stuff, like not the Battleforce box. What is it called? Like the command box or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm having a hard time. So I got a lot of that stuff right there, and a couple of Great Unclean ones, and some more Nurgle stuff over here. Those projects are going to be huge as well. And then some Orky stuff. I'm going to take a look. And some more stuff coming. I got like 2 more jets coming and a couple more stuff going on right there. But yeah, I got the new Snagga box. I really like the orcs, and I never thought I would start a WA, but guess what? I'm going to start a WA. It's going to be one of these years where it's going to be the new army for the new year, and it's going to be like, wow, it's going to be so much. Anyway, plenty of new content for the channel. I love you all. I think you guys are amazing. Keep on fighting the gray. Keep on painting as best you can, and keep on learning at least one thing from everything you paint. In other words, for every model you paint, learn at least one new technique to add to your repertoire and get much better at miniature painting. It is a process. It is a journey. If you don't try new things, you'll never learn new things. All right. Well, if you like this video, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on the Miniatures Paintbrush.